A battle rages just underneath the careless gaze of humans everywhere. Whiskers, paws, and claws flash and slash foes in this simple competitive card game, Tales of Conflict. Tales of Conflict is a simple game with only a few components: dice, cube markers, and cards, of which there are 4 decks. Every deck represents a different battle class, each with its own playstyle, strengths, and weaknesses. In the game, there are thieves, knights, barbarians, and assassins. At the beginning of the game, each player will choose one of these 4 decks, which are then separated into 3 card types. The first card type is Champions, of which players will choose 3. Cats and dogs of every persuasion are chosen by the player to face battle against their opponent. Players don't need to choose just cats or just dogs either. Felines and canines alike fight and band together for supremacy, and biscuits. The second pile is made up of armory cards, which players will buy for their champions. In the corner of each armory card is listed a gold value, which players must pay to earn to their deck. The final pile of cards is made up of 10 starter cards, which will be the player's starting deck. This starting hand is made up of potions, gold, certain event cards, and some basic gear which players can equip their champions with. During setup, the player will choose an active champion, placing it ahead of the 2 supporting champions. This is the champion that will perform head-to-head combat with the opponent. Players will also create an armory of 5 cards that they will be able to buy throughout the game. As cards are bought, more are drawn from the armory deck to replace those taken. Now let's talk about what players can do on their turn after drawing their hand of cards. First, and perhaps most importantly, players will start with a multitude of gold cards in their deck, which they can spend in the armory. The armory offers new events, stronger armor, deadly elixirs, and more, which players equip to their champions. Players may also put to use event or potion cards, which can be either played or burned. Burned events and potions are typically beefed up versions of the play option. The main meat of the game comes from players activating their champion, which they can do once per turn. Activating the champion allows the player to search the armory, look for gold, but most importantly, attack. Champions have an innate number of dice they can use to perform combat: 1 red die for attack, 1 green die for defense, and 1 blue die for speed. This is where equipment comes in. Armor, weapons, and other items modify how many dice the player rolls during combat. For example, an equipped throwing knife earns the champion an extra red die to their attack power. Combat begins by players rolling all of their active champion's blue dice, which determines who attacks first. The attacker then rolls all of their red dice. Any values 4 and above count as hits. But the champions won't be pouncing alone. Their support will back them up by pelting ranged attacks from afar, as long as they are equipped to do so. At this point, the defending champion will choose to roll either their green or blue dice, blocking hits at 4 and above. At value 6, players earn criticals, which can be used to activate special abilities. Players will also use abilities from cards at this time, which may modify results or grant rerolls. For every hit that isn't blocked by the defender, that champion gains a hit marker, and once 5 hit markers are earned, that champion is captured and removed from the game. Once a player captures all 3 of the opponent's fluffy fiends, the game ends, and that player's champions gain victory, and biscuits. As an aside, my 2 cats, Tiny Cat and Aries, are in the game as legendary champions. Thanks for watching this video on Tales of Conflict. To learn more, check out the links in the description.